I'm 18 years old, and I'm hanging out in the little pantry off the kitchen in my mom's apartment, tripping hard on LSD. I just came to the kitchen for some water, but it's nice here. Everything dark, except for Mom's old Art Deco electric clock on the wall above me, which bathes everything in a faint orange glow. I love that clock. I remember back when Mom first got it, back at the house at Sherman Oaks, almost 10 years ago now. And here I am, standing under it, almost as if I've always been here, and nothing ever happened. But something did happen. There's a heavy tread in the hallway, and here's Mom coming into the kitchen. I can't quite see her through the clock face, which is burned on my retinas. I can make out her form. So, what are you doing standing here in the dark? Nothing. Thinking. She leans against the dryer next to me, slips her arm around my waist and presses her cheek against my shoulder. Everything okay? Sure. She turns and makes little kisses on my shoulder. She's relieved since I said I wouldn't move back up to Dad's, which I brought up the other night. She broke down and cried like a child and said the strangest thing. You weren't here for so long, but now you are here. Don't go now, please. You weren't here for so long. It was the weirdest way of saying it, like I'd run away when I was 9 to join the Navy, and now I finally decided to come back. Where was I? I was where you put me, where you left me. Going back up to Dad's probably wouldn't change anything. I graduated high school. My girlfriend Debbie had gone away to college. My stepmother Sheila stormed out of the house in a drunken rage and went back to New York. And Dad was broke, drinking hard, writing screenplays behind his closed office door, his acting career kind of in the toilet. And I thought life might be lighter and simpler at Mom and Harry's. She's done her best to be in our lives the last 8 years. She's tried hard to be more than a Sunday mom, the way Dad was a Sunday dad before he got custody. But now she had the chance to really play mommy again. So I kind of enjoyed not letting her make my breakfast and just, sitting with my tea and cigarette. I did my own laundry, I get my own groceries, I pay for my own phone. I'll live here, but I'm not gonna let her play mommy. She gave up that role when she took us to Synanon. So everybody's calling it a cult now. Ever since Chuck, the founder, the old man, has been arrested for putting the snake in the lawyer's mailbox. It's come out that he's been making couples swap partners and making men get vasectomies, and kids are getting beaten. Back in the beginning, it was this miraculous place where drug addicts got clean, like my stepfather Harry. But by the time Mom started going there in 1969 on Saturday nights to play the game and learn about herself, it was more of an alternative lifestyle commune. And suddenly she decided we should just move in there. It was the first thing since Dad left when I was 5 to marry the Dragon Lady. Well, that's what he called her when it was over 3 years later. And her marriage to the agent from the Morris office fizzled just as quickly. Synanon was the first thing that made her happy. My siblings and I lived in dorms with other kids, and we went to workshops instead of normal school. And through all this, we had to play the Synanon game, which was not a game. It was where children sat in a circle and yelled at you until you cried or screamed back 3 times a week. just like the adults. And a week after we got there, they put us on a ban from Mom. We weren't allowed to see her or speak to her for 3 months. Well, 3 for the kids, but 5 for me, because I kept writing her little notes and trying to get in touch with her, and they found out and made the ban longer. And at the end of 15 months, when Mom and Harry decided to leave because things were getting weird, I'd been up at the Oakland school, isolated from everyone, and suddenly learned that Mom had signed us over to Dad, and we were all going to live with him, which was all we ever wanted. And now she did everything she could to make up for it all, as long as we didn't talk about it. But what was there to talk about? After all, like Dad said, we all turned out okay. Oh wow, I'm tripping hard again. Which is weird, because I peeked before. Heart pounding, red and green paisley patterns filling the room, but Mom's face is clear in the light from the clock. I look at that face and think, God, there it is. That face, so famous and beloved to me, an audience of one. She smiles and little flares like flashbulbs pop all around her face. She runs her fingers through my hair, strokes my forehead with her thumb. You need a haircut. I think how in Synanon they used to shave people's heads for punishment. I hate haircuts. I know. You used to love getting all your hair cut off when you were little. Well, not since Synanon. She blinks, her smile fades, her hand drops to my shoulder. She looks at the floor and sighs. I shouldn't have said it. Now we'll be quiet and wait for the moment to pass. She'll change the subject or give me a sad little smile and go back to bed. But she doesn't. She keeps her hand on my shoulder and leans into me and kind of rests her forehead on my chest. This never happens. I hang on to the edge of the washing machine. She leans against me, and we breathe. She mumbles, I wish I'd never listened to him. I think she means Harry, like he talked her into coming to Synanon, since he'd been there for 6 years before we got there. Your father. My father what? Okay, the paisley patterns are turning into plaid. She bites her lip and looks away. This never happens. This is some night. It was your father that pushed me to stay in Synanon for as long as we did. My spine is turned into an icicle, and I have to stand very still to make sure it doesn't break. What are you talking about? When we first got to Synanon and they put us on the ban, I was ready to split that day. I had no idea they were going to do that. And Daddy, wait a minute. You didn't? You didn't know that? She explains that the ban came as a complete surprise, that she called our father and said she'd made a huge mistake and was going to take us home, but that he'd encouraged her to stay. I grow 2 or 3 inches as she says this, and my shoulders are getting wider. You talked to Dad the first week? Now she's shrinking as she looks up at me. We talked all the time, honey. And you're saying you were ready to split and take us home. Yes, honey, I was hysterical. I look way down at her. She's about as high as my waist. She wraps her arms around herself and looks at the clock pleadingly, as if the clock might believe her. He knew if he got me to stay long enough, when I had given up my last penny, there would be no way for me to take you when we did split. She looks way up at me. Honey, he planned it that way. She's turned me into a giant statue, like a golem, my head cracking the ceiling. I don't recognize the voice that comes out of me. So what you're telling me is, my father controlled you. You had no will of your own. She grabs my shirt and wails, You don't know! You His hold was so strong over me. He's always had control over me. Please understand, honey, please, please. She hangs on to me and whimpers. Now I can move my hands and I pat her on the shoulders and get her calmed down. She takes a big breath and shakes it off. Phew! What was that? Jesus! I think I'd better go back to bed. Good night. Good night, Cookie. She pats me on the shirt where it's wet, shakes her head, and says as she wanders off, "Boy, I don't know what got me going tonight. But I do. And isn't it weird that a contact high from a drug she's never done made her want to tell me the truth?" But is it the truth? So, I don't know that she's only going to be alive 4 more years, and we are never going to talk about this again. But a few nights later, sitting and drinking with Dad up at the house, I'll ask him about what she told me, and he'll tell me that it's true. Look, when your mom took you guys to Synanon, I went fucking bananas. I called every lawyer in town, and every last one of them said there wasn't a chance in hell of getting a judge to give me custody. I knew your mom would never last there, no way. But I needed time. I had to get off my ass financially, and I had to make sure that Sheila, that she was up for having a house full of kids. So I kept telling her, stay, give it a shot, maybe it'll do you some good, that kind of shit. So that when she was ready to, split, she'd have to sign you over to me. And that's what she did. So it'll be 20 years until I talk to him about this again, when I will finally get up the courage to confront him with this massive contradiction. That having played for time with our weak-minded mother while we were stuck in this frightening place, and having gained our precious custody, he sent us off to grow up in boarding school, because neither he nor Sheila were prepared to have a house full of kids like the fucking Brady Bunch. He was just a Sunday father after all, and we did not exactly turn out okay! And on that day, 20 years from now, he'll break down in tears and beg my forgiveness. And I'll do my best over the last years of his life to give it to him and to Mom. But I can't possibly imagine any of that now. Tripping in the pantry, drawing my fingers past my eyes to make trails, seeing the plaid pattern turn back into paisley, which turns into a swarm of fireflies and pours into my chest and goes everywhere inside me. Look what I can do with my mind. I don't need to worry about what my hapless parents did. I can think about something else.